Good morning. It's well past time for another garden tour. I'll be honest, I got completely overrun by the weeds. I have had to totally change my gardening style. It's just, the clay is insane with how fast the weeds grow. Part of the reason I haven't done another garden tour since the last one was because I've spent hours and hours and hours out here every day trying to stay on top of the weeds and failing miserably. So what I ended up having to do, which Dan was telling me I was going to have to do from the beginning, and I was not listening because I didn't want to, I'm having to till the garden. I've always had a no-till garden, and now I'm tilling. In between, I have like perennial areas with flowers and my elderberries and blueberries and things like that, but in between everything else, I'm having to till and then just hand weed around my plants. That's really going to change how I do the layout of this garden next year to make tilling a little easier because it's kind of crazy right now, but I've tilled it a few times. It really helped. I'm almost caught up. There's a few things that are still really overgrown. The corn. You really can't see the corn behind the grass, so that's been a little bit of a project, and my radish patch is also a little bit insane, but other than that, I'm kind of catching up. There's a few spots like around my gladiolas and my asparagus and my whole 5 strawberries and my strawberry patch that need to get weeded, but everything else that's really going to be putting on food right now is weeded well. So that's good, that's important. Flowers, whatever, and everything else I'll get to it as I can. But yeah, let's just go do a garden tour and I'll show you guys what's going on. Okay, so the first thing you will see that is different is all of my pavers are up. They're over here. Again, the clay is just insane, and having to weed between each of the pavers was just not fun. So I pulled them up and I tilled this path, and I'm just not gonna have the walkway that I wanted, which is kind of a bummer because when it's really wet, this is slippery and sticks to your shoes and it's a mess. But in terms of weed control, this is the better option, even if it's not as convenient otherwise. My peppers are doing good. Some of them are a lot smaller than others, but I think this end gets a little better sunlight than some of these other spots. I finally emptied out one pot of marigolds. These ones I need to take out, and then I've got my little baby basil growing up in here, which I honestly should just pull out because I think they're growing slowly because this spot is pretty shaded. The garlic is doing well. It actually looks weedier than it really is. We've been eating lots of garlic scapes lately, which are my favorite. I really think I'm going to double or more my garlic patch next year. See, I have lilies blooming like crazy. A few tomato plants over here looking good. I'm just starting to get peas growing. Let's see, we've got tomatoes coming on. I have my butternut squash, which I reseeded and ended up with 5 more plants. So I put 2 more out here, and then I gave Dan's dad the other 4. So maybe I had 6 more plants. I don't know. It was a lot, but I didn't need that many butternut squash. So gave some away. Over here, this is supposed to be Brussels sprouts. They're not doing anything yet, maybe towards fall. This is supposed to be broccoli. Again, I'm not getting any broccoli heads yet. Maybe a tiny broccoli in there. I was eating broccoli this time last year, so it's a little sad. Got summer squash growing in here. Coming along. We haven't eaten any yet, but it's coming. I kind of have zinnias in there. I need to weed that. Sweet potatoes. My bagged potatoes are doing good. One bag did not grow. I think they rotted, but I got some potato starts for my mom, and those are actually doing well. They're just shorter than the rest, so you can't see it. And then over here I have cabbages growing, which are, again, teeny tiny. If you look at, you know, compared to the size of my hand, usually I have huge cabbages by now, but that's okay. My dahlia pots, which I actually went shopping with my mother a couple weekends ago and picked out a few more dahlias. So I've got some in here, and then I've got some in here, and some are blooming, and then there's a lot that will be blooming soon. I should deadhead this badly. My roses have gone. They're almost done. The candy cane roses are about done, which they put on the best show they have yet in the 4 years I've had them this year. And then there's other roses. The elderberries are all looking fabulous. I still have the things in pots from my mom, like the grapes and a few different types of raspberries that I have yet to go plant. I really need to do that. Boops. Over here, there's my delicata squash. Maybe there's another one coming up. This is another one of those things that I put out. It didn't do anything. I reseeded, and now I'm going to have more than I need. So, whoops. These tomatoes are doing really well. I'm pretty good about pruning the suckers and cutting any leaves off that touch the dirt. I'm still trying to do any that are going to touch the dirt, but I think I'm going to leave the suckers this year. It's kind of an experiment. One, because I have 40 tomato plants, which is basically 1 million in my mind. If they produce a little bit less because of the suckers, that's fine. I've heard a theory that more foliage, more photosynthesis going on, so you're going to have bigger, better, and more fruit. So why not test it out? We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be an epic fail. But some of these I've tied. Some of them I need to come tie some more. We had a pretty epic rainstorm and got about 6 inches the other day, and it really kind of did a beating. Some of these guys, I've got to tie them up. In here I've got my nasturtiums and little bitty cucamelons, which I'll be curious to see what happens. This isn't a huge sunspot, so I'm not really sure. I'm debating on moving these into a more sunny area because I'm not sure if we're actually going to get fruit or not here. It's a great debate, but this is just how it is. Yeah, see, they got, hang on, I'll zoom out. That's better. Okay, so you can see some of the tomatoes have been blown down and they need to get tied up, and I just use baling twine and just tie them up loosely, and that way they can grow. And I've never really had baling twine cause any issues. My onions, I've always been a terrible onion grower. They never get very big. I don't know. I've heard sometimes you're supposed to give them like haircuts. That freaks me out. Maybe one year I'll be good at growing onions. I don't think this is going to be the year for that. This was supposed to be a pumpkin from my mother. It's actually a cucumber, which is funny. I think it just got messed up, but hey, we love cucumbers and pickles, so we're not really going to complain about that. But there is a pumpkin from her that's spreading there. And there's several watermelons and cantaloupes from her. And this is one of my pumpkins. It's not doing anything too exciting yet. This is supposed to be a winter luxury pumpkin. We'll see. And then we've got zucchini plants, which it looks like we've got another zucchini to eat. Yay. Here's green beans. I got this patch weeded. As you can see, his neighbor, the radishes, has not been finished weeding. I've kind of been picking at it but I planted this bed so densely that it's hard to weed, which is my own fault. But honestly, my radishes did terrible last year because it was too hot, and even though they were weeded well and spaced out, they never really grew a good radish root. So instead we were eating the radish seed pods, which may end up being what happens again this year. This is the corn patch. So you can see what I was talking about, having problems. You can't even hardly see what's corn and what's not in here. Some of them I've kind of started weeding around. The wind kind of knocked everything down the other day with the wind and rain. And then I've got sunflowers along the edge. I have a little bunny that's getting in here and has nipped off a few of those. So I need to deal with him because that's rude. My okra patch did finally start doing something. So I've got, I think there was 7 and now there's about 14, but every couple days it seems like new ones are finally germinating, so I'm not sure what it's at right now. Hopefully I'll end up with some okra. Cucumbers are starting. We finally got the fence up here. So this little guy has already found the fence. So he's tied on, and then a few more that I seeded out late. But yeah, so that's the garden right now. It's not too terribly exciting. Here in the next couple weeks, I will be absolutely overrun with produce, and if the tomatoes do what they should do, I don't even know how I'm going to keep up with them. I'm going to have to learn how to can tomatoes. I have always frozen them, so that's not going to work. These guys are yucky. Don't want those. But let's see what's down here. I'm just going to throw my weeds over. Look at, see, this is, get my shadow out of the way. Little darn bunny is coming in through there. Bad bunny. I'm going to have to put a rock there, I think. That's fine. My mom gave me her little fairy houses. This is a terrible time of day for filming. Sorry, guys. The shadows will be horrible, but if I wait till later, it's going to be like 90 million degrees. More dahlias coming up. There's one at the front here that's kind of been sad. He's just looked like this the whole time. I'm thinking I might attempt to dig him out and give him his own pot somewhere else. See, my glads are interspaced with plenty of weeds. Fret not, guys. My weeds will always have a garden. Yeah, I'm a dork, but it's crazy. My grow tower is doing okay. I will say a lot of the ones that I direct seeded into really either didn't germinate or they did and are growing very slowly. So I think for the future, I will only start things in the greenhouse that I will hopefully have. Here's some dill. And then transplant the plants into here once they're a little bigger, because like the borage did well. I have some mint that did well, but I did like lettuces and spinach and a few onions, and it's just, and this side gets more sun and it's really naked. Got some lavender up here. I like it. I would do another 1 or 2 or 3 if they weren't so expensive, but I just need to, don't put seeds in that, put plants in it. This tiny walkway, this, you can see I've been concentrating on weeding around my food. Definitely need to weed through here. I did plant some zinnia seeds in here. If you can even see any of them, probably not through the grass. Perks of this being a lawn. The spiderwort's doing beautiful this year, but that's not good lighting for that. Some of this borage was actually in the grow tower, and it had just germinated so well in there that I brought some of it down here. Something's chewing on it. Are you what's chewing on it? That's mean. And the lilies are fabulous. I'm waiting for my stargazer lilies to open. I haven't seen any of those guys yet. Ooh, one exciting thing. I know I told you guys that I had the tomatillo, however you want to say it, plant, and I couldn't find another one anywhere. I couldn't find seeds. When I was out with my mom, we went to Stein's, which is like a big greenhouse, and I found some seeds, and I managed to get them to germinate. There's just a little patch of them down here. So, yep, those teeny tiny things. I'm hoping that one will at least grow enough to start putting off flowers, and then it can pollinate some of these. Because otherwise, I mean, this is a beautiful plant. It's huge and it's gorgeous. So it'd be nice if it did something. Some of my hollyhocks that I planted last year at the old house and transplanted, only 2 survived out of like 7, but they bloomed and they're different colors, so that's exciting. They were straight up, but they got a little tippy with that storm yesterday. And then I did put more in the ground, so there will be more in future years. This is my strawberry patch. It's like I Spy. Can we find the strawberries? Ooh, look. I found one. We did eat about a strawberry out of here. That's just depressing. We won't look at it. And another fun thing, when I was at Stein's, we found a wisteria. My mom bought it for me as part of my like a super early birthday present, because the one that I had moved here died. So I've got this new little one, and I'm training him along the fence line. More lilies coming up. More little fairy houses hiding. You can see how muddy it was in here. And then I've got a nice zinnia patch here. And another exciting thing before I forget, we finally got our Starlink internet. Yay! So I actually have internet instead of 4G now. So hopefully I'll be able to upload a little bit more here. And even more exciting for me is I'll be able to check in with all of you guys and your gardens and your critters and all that stuff I've been missing because we just didn't have internet. So I hope you guys are having a fabulous summer and beautiful gardens, and hopefully not as many weeds as I have, but thanks for watching, guys.